Good morning, boys and girls. Today's reading hour, alright, so hi, Lara Goldman with 12 Belize, and today we're going to have reading story time. We're going to read stuff from our book collection. I have a bunch of things to say first. First of all, this is Freddie.
Hi, Freddie. Say hello to everybody.
So if he barks or does something, my apologies. We had a little, sometimes you got to take your kid to work. That's all. So, there's no bookstores in San Pedro at all. There's one used bookstore at the hair salon, Aquarius Hair Salon, by the way, if you need your hair done. She's lovely. Kim is amazing. But she does a book swap. Other than that, there used to be a bookstore in this space, actually right here, hence the shelving. That was here when I got the space. There was also downstairs for a minute. There was one across the way. But the truth is that most people prefer to read on their tablets or handheld devices. I don't at all. I definitely cannot imagine reading Vanity Fair on my computer. And I still like a book. And tourists sometimes have that same need. And we also have a lot of options here for books that are published right here in San Pedro, in Belize, so we're going to talk about those in a little bit.
We have Sarah Horace Bladden and Carlos Carvajal watching.
Hello, Blue Morpho Tours and Felicity Sailing. How are you guys today? It's funny, we're talking about Belize culture today, actually. That's where we're heading with this. We're going to talk about books. I might read a little bit from a couple of these. So I wish that I feel like I wanted to have like a nanny hair poof thing and my reading glasses and old lady dress because we're going to have story time. But before I get into story time, I actually want to talk about culture. And this part is directed at any Americans that are watching. I learned about culture, or the concept of culture, or subtleties of culture many years ago when I worked in corporate, and I worked for a call center company. And among the many wonderful places I used to travel to, including Altoona, Pennsylvania, was Canada, which was amazing. But I was young. I was in my maybe my mid to late 20s. And like most people in the East Coast, I've never really been a whole lot of places except for vacation. And I did human resources. So it was about connecting with the people that worked in the call centers. We had call centers throughout Canada. And I spent a lot of time in Canada. And I remember, aside from the labor laws, which blew my mind as an American, it's mind-blowing that the government mandates certain things like holiday pay and severance in case you fire somebody and what you need to have in order to have just cause and all of these things. As a human resource professional, it was mind-blowing. But that was legal. And so I kind of picked up on some of that, but it was the cultural nuances that I missed. And Americans are so used to the term Americanized. We're used to things, that term in and of itself. You don't hear the term Europeanized. You don't hear the term Latinized. But Americanized is something that's spread from, implying it spread from the U.S. out. And so as Americans, people that don't travel a ton to begin with, as a whole, yes, I know some of us do, obviously I do, we don't catch the nuances. Because when we travel for tourism, we're going to places that are catered for us. They're created for our comfort. I went on a safari and it was very Americanized. It was very much for the creature comfort so that we wouldn't be uncomfortable. God forbid. But where I really learned about culture had to do with going to somebody's house. In Canada, much like Belize, now my American friends, somebody from Philadelphia or New York, if somebody walked into your house and immediately took off your shoes, their shoes, you would be shocked. Why are you taking off your shoes in my house? That's the strangest thing in the world. It's weird. In Canada, you take your shoes off before you walk in. And as an American, I couldn't get my head around it. I needed somebody to explain it to me. The same way down here in Belize. You take your shoes off when you go into somebody's house because of sand. In Philadelphia, you don't have either of those issues. Sand or occasional snow, and then you wipe your feet and you're done. And that's not culture, I get it. But it's such a nuance that if you weren't paying attention, you miss it. Like how we hold a fork in the U.S. and what's considered proper manners in the U.S. is the fork upside down. I mean, you cut upside down, you switch hands, and then you eat with the fork right side up in your hand. When I was in Africa, it was a bunch of Europeans and me and my friend Lisa Donnelly, and we were the only Americans at the table, and we realized everybody else holds their fork quite differently and eats quite differently. We would think that was rude, to turn your fork over, and it looks like a shoveling motion to us to eat with your left hand. But it's not to the rest of the world. We're the ones that are different. So what I love about living in a country outside of the little bubble that I grew up in my whole life is figuring out the things that really do make us so different. And those differences are frankly really cool, and you can feel your brain stretch in a weird sort of way. So I love reading about the Mayans. Living here in Belize, we are in the epicenter of the Mayan world. It's a culture that's very much alive. I remember learning in the States, in school, that the Mayans were dead. The Mayans aren't dead. I have plenty of friends that are Mayan and that speak Mayan, and you can see it on, genetically, the Mayan look. Carlos, if he's still watching. And so anyway, I want to talk about that a little bit. And these are textbooks that I have here, actually. A lot of these are used. John Burgos, who is the president of the Belize Tourism Industry Association, and Neftali Lemus, who owns Excite Belize, were telling me this is actually a textbook, but this is just Belizean short stories and fables, the same as we have in the States. One of the other cultural differences is the way words are used. So for example, I still can't quite figure out how to explain it exactly right. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth is not translated here. That's one of those that we use all the time, right? In the States, Dawn, you've heard that phrase 1,000 times. It's like, always, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. That's not used down here. And so those sort of nuances and the language that comes through stories and fables, Jewish culture, that's all it is stories and fables from back in the day that are handed down through generations and then told. So this is one of my favorite ones. It's called Mayan Gods. I'm going to read from this one. Hence, see my little reading glasses. This is why I've got my dog at my feet. Like, I'm in the perfect position to read stories.
So Tom jumped on from Houston. He
Hi,
got
Tom.
the coconuts and he really likes them.
Yay! Fantastic. We did a session. Oh my god, these are so dirty. I don't even know how I'm going to read through them. There should be a rag up there, actually. I'll use that. I guess these masks are good for something. So he had seen from Mr. Dennis made some coconut candle holders and whatnot, and so I'm so glad they arrived and that you're pleased.
Michelle's just in time for story time with Lara.
Which Michelle?
Kirby.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, it is time for story time with not just Lara, with
And
Lara
look at
and
Freddie. Freddie's here.
You ready to read a story? Okay, so I thought I'd read a couple from the Mayan gods. It's a brief and current view of religious thought of the ancient Maya. And I'm going to start with the one that I find the most shocking, frankly. If you're mentally unstable in any way, turn this off. Michelle, click off. Or go shave something. No, just kidding. She shaved her
I
cat.
saw your cat, Michelle. Oh my gosh, you need to get rid of those cutters and clippers and stuff.
Well, she doesn't have her own. She goes to other people. Michelle's partner, Corey, shaved her head, then we shaved Michelle's head, and then they shaved their cat. They just shave things. It's odd. It's obvious why I don't spend much time with you these days, Michelle.
You would have no hair.
This would be a problem. A big problem.
But we could cut it off and put it back on the cat so the cat looks normal again.
Oh, yeah. Sacrifice my hair for the cat. That makes sense. Okay, so a brief and current view of religious thought. So the first one I want to read about, so this book it's actually a really well-made book. You can see it's got really shiny pictures. But it goes through the history of the Maya and how their culture and religion manifests itself and some of the things. But they go through a handful of Mayan gods. And I'm going to read some of these cool ones to you. And I said we're going to start with the one that if you're mentally unstable, you should log off. Because there is an actual goddess of suicide. There's a goddess of suicide. Like, I find that fascinating. And you can see her pictures. I don't know what happened to her boobs in the process. But she sure had something happen to her nipple. But, okay. So the goddess of the suicides. The ancient Maya had a weird goddess known as Ixtab. I-X-T-A-B. Ixtab. The one of the cord. The goddess of the gallows, or the hanged persons. They thought that suicide by hanging was the best way to go unto the other life. The persons who were hung arrived at the sky of milk and honey, filled with pleasures and delight, sheltered under the shade of the gigantic ceiba tree. Ceiba trees are beautiful. Have you seen the ceiba tree?
No.
When you go out to the ruins, they're just beautiful trees. The Maya believed that death by hanging had a reward, and they respected the people who hung themselves. There did not exist any laws which condemned suicide. The goddess Ixtab is represented in the eclipse table of the Dresde god Codex. Codex? Oh, the Dresde Codex as a goddess with a rope around her neck. I think that's interesting.
Keela Jewett is watching.
Yo no hablo español muy bien, pero Kayla es desde Peru. Y tiene mi niños favoritos. I think that's right. And Kayla, if it's not, you know, I'm sending love. Yeah, it's 1,000 degrees in here. So I could go on to that. Should we read a children's book?
Yes.
Children's book, more interesting. How about Caye Boy or Booby Trap?
Caye Boy, because there's like a little series, isn't it?
Yeah, there's 3 in the Caye Boy books. So we'll read this one through, and then we'll hang up story hour for the day, because we could go on forever with different fables and whatnot. But, all right, so Caye Boy. He's a real kid. Has gorgeous mother, Charlie, great sister. Can you say that? No. I can picture her gorgeous face. Anyway, he did have this shock of blonde hair, which at one point was dyed blue. He's a real kid. His name is Malik, and he's much older now and much still as cool. But a woman and I believe her husband wrote and illustrated this series of books. They're not in any particular order. And Caye Boy, we're just going to start with him. They're over in Key Calker. You can go see him, maybe run into him if you wanted to, over at Coco King. All right, I'm Guilford. I live in a blue house on a little island in the middle of the great big sea. My house sits high up on the stilts to catch a breeze. It has a big porch with hammocks and lots of space to play and chase my little brother around. I think he has a little brother. He's got a sister. Now, before I move on, I'm going to point out one of the things that I realized that they don't advertise, but the truth is that on every single page, I was reading this with one of my nieces up in the Philadelphia area, and realized that this little hermit crab is hidden on every single page. So on all 3 of the books. So it's like a little Where's Waldo, so it's super fun to read with the kids, because then you have to stop and find the hermit crab everywhere.
Rebecca Kearney, she has this particular book and thinks it's very well done.
They just got this for their incredible son, Maximilian. Happy birthday, Rebecca. And those eyelashes. I know that he's probably sick to death. We've all seen boys with eyelashes. This is crazy. His is amazing. Sweet boy. Super sweet.
My cat's name was Maximilian.
My little island is a little sweep of sand with fish and boats all around it. It is full of bright houses and pretty flowers and about 100 coconut trees. Here's the crab. I can walk and walk and walk and always end up back at my little blue house. As soon as the sun wakes up, Albus and I run into Mama and Pa's room. The sun is up. We're awake, we shout. Mama says we are worse than a couple of roosters. That's pretty bad. And there he is. Where is he on this one? There he is. Then Albus and I romp and stomp around the porch until Mama finally says we can go outside. Try not to wake up the whole island, says Mama, and stay in the yard. A yard means not in the middle of the street. So we stay in our yard until we get to the beach, which is in our yard. But it's not in the middle of the street either, so it counts. We're good listeners. We have about 100 hermit crab races, which takes forever because hermit crabs aren't straight walkers. Speaking of which, still doing virtual hermit crab races.
At Canucks?
Yep. Still doing virtual hermit crab races. Feel free to enter and join. Go to Canucks on Facebook to find out more.
They're actually a lot of fun to watch.
Are they?
It's
just silliness.
It is. It's just silliness. Jana joined in and says she loves your show.
Hi Jana. I couldn't find my best hermit crabs today. His name is I'm sure that says Hermes, but I'm going to say Hermes. He is the fastest crab on my island. He wears a white plastic lid instead of a shell. Mama says that is unusual. That makes me sad when you see that. It's because we take so many of their shells they can't find freaking homes. Okay, Elvis finds 2 empty bottles. He's a good finder. So we wait and wait and wait until Miss Juanita finally opens the store. We trade the bottles for 2 shillings, and we are rich. Then we trade our shillings for 2 bags of chips, and that's even better. Elvis and I race to catch up with our friend Dario on his way to school. His pa always gives us a mango from his fruit cart. Mama says we have to eat lots of good-for-us foods to grow into big boys. So we tell her about the mangoes, but not about the chips. We like to help out at our cousin's snorkel shop. Alvis shows everyone how to put on flippers. Tourists smell like sunscreen and always ask us about 100 questions. I help Big George carry the long pole for his manatee tour because it's so heavy. I'm a good helper. I tell the tourists about all the fish they will see. My best fish is the spotted drum, and the angelfish, and the queen triggerfish, and about 100 more kinds. Snorkeling is the very best thing in the whole world. I think we can all agree to that. We see Pa's boat come in, so we ride to the dock to see what he caught. Pa used to be a Caye Boy like me, But then he grew big, and now he's a fisherman. Pa gives us fish scraps to feed the frigates. They swoop down and don't quite touch us, but almost. After lunch, we have to be quiet as a gecko. Wait a minute. Geckos are not quiet.
I was going to say, they have a song.
Wait a second. Geckos are very loud.
And they have a song.
After lunch, I have to be quiet. Be as quiet as a gecko, because all the babies and big people take naps. The sun is hot, hot, hot. So I keep under houses mostly. I practice crawling under Mr. Rodolfo's hammock without making a peep. Pick some cocoa plums, see how close I can get to an iguana, lay under our water vat and spy on the chickens, and win my best marble back from Julio. Since Mom is around to tell me to come down right now, I climb the breadfruit tree. It's my best tree. I can see my whole island from the top. Now where is he? See? I'm a crab. Finally, after 100 years, everyone wakes up from their naps, and I can whoop around and make as much noise as I want. All the big kids come home from school, so we race and chase each other until we are so tired and crash down and make sand angels. I've never seen anybody make a sand angel.
I haven't either.
That would be painful.
It sounds horrible.
It sounds really painful. Then comes the best time of day, lobstering time. Pa swims around and uses a big hook to scoop up the lobsters. That is the easy part. I have to make sure they don't scramble out of the bag, which everyone knows is the hard part. I'm a good lobster man. While Pa cleans the lobster, I go get an orange juice from Mama and Albus. We wait at Horseye Jack's. That's where everyone on the island goes to drink juice and laugh and swim. Juice. The tourists always take hundreds of pictures of the sun going down into the sea. We do have some pretty good. So this is clearly meant to be the split, which doesn't really look like that anymore. And in Key Clocker, everything like our island faces east, not west. But at the split, they do get amazing sunsets. And now Coco King is on the west side, so you get super amazing sunsets. The sun gets bigger and bigger and lower, and then it goes away and it's nighttime. Pa rides us back to my little blue house. Mama and Albus are cuddling in one of the hammocks, so Pa and I climb into the other one. My island is cool and dark and quiet. The sun is down, I say. It is tired. Yes, the sun is sleeping, said Pa. When will the sun wake up? I asked. When you wake up, says Pa. The end. So there you go. Caye Boy book, 28 Belize. For each of them, we have other ones we'll do next time. If you have requests or whatever, if you want to hear more of the tall tales or whatever, I don't mind the sound of my voice, so I'm happy to read to you. We are still honoring, I don't know if you've seen on Facebook, we're trying to promote. I'm going to be sending out some emails soon. We're honoring old prices on my website. My current 12belize.com website is very old. We haven't been able to update it in many years, so the prices are old. And I'm going to honor those prices until the new site comes up, which is going to be in a couple weeks. So keep watching, sign up for email updates. We're going to do some sales and specials, which I've never done in my entire life. Like literally, even my stop in the States. The only time in the States that I did a sale was when I was moving to Belize, and I wanted to clear it all out, and in 2 weeks it was done. So we're going to be doing all that. So 12belize.com, honoring old prices. Hint, check out Maya bags. Those are the ones that have gone up the most on the new website, and I will honor the old prices, which are old. So other than that, 12belize.com, Facebook, Instagram, everything else. Yeah.
Amy Knox says that she'd like to hear some more, maybe next time, fables like Tate Dwande and Ananasi.
Oh, yeah.
What book is that from? The same one we read?
The Dwende one is this. No. It would be. These are those. This is these ones. The Pataki full ones. The short stories, or If Deepan Never Been. So these two. So we were in, and before, since she brings it up, Amy, do you remember when John and Neff told us about this when you did the Taste of Belize? They were telling us John Burgos was Neff's teacher in school, and this book, and I've had people buy this for school. This is actually considered a textbook. But Pataki, I'm going to get this wrong, so maybe we should read it and find out. Get it right. But a Pataki full, he was saying it means when you're Pataki full, it means you've got the abundance, your bag is full. The Pataki had something to do with some sort of bag. I don't remember if it was a flour sack or what it was, but you would fill it with something. I forget what exactly. There was alcohol involved. And when it was full. So this book is about the many short stories. The Duende is the character, right, Amy? He's like the bad guy. Is that like what's the Chupacabra guy too? We got a lot of bad guys. So I'll look through that, Amy. I think that's a great idea. Definitely, we'll probably do this maybe every other week or so. I don't know, maybe next week. I have no idea. But check us out, 12beliefs.com. Keep what?
It's the boogeyman.
The boogeyman. Is that what this?
I thought the Kubalabra was
the Chupacabra thingy is the little creature.
She just said the boogeyman. Maybe the Duende one.
I think the Duende is the boogeyman. I think he's up north. I've read. There was also one. Now I got. All right, you've got me on a mission. I think he's this guy. Actually, is it him, Amy? I think it's him. I think he's the boogeyman that you're referring to.
Ananasi is a spider, and it comes from Africa.
Well, that's that story we were gonna do, right?
Oh, so Tom.
Oh yeah, El Dueño de los.
Yes, she says yes.
Yes, this guy.
So
yep, that's the boogeyman.
Tom did jump in on a different topic.
Go ahead.
The little zip pouch made out of the Lay's potato chip bag is genius.
Tom, I take no credit.
What else do you have like that? Those bags are the best, Tom. You're absolutely right. I have so many of them.
I can't take credit for the genius of that. I make them, actually, Tom. And I got the idea in Portugal, and since then I've seen it in other countries. I do a lot of things with that. I'll send you some. Actually, we did a video about them. I can send you the link in the video, or if you go to my Facebook page under videos, you'll see a bunch. I think we did them the same day we did the embroidered totes. We did them, because I think so. I do those bags, I make square ones, I make a flat bottom one, and then I also make dog food. Don't follow me.
I'm not.
Messy. I don't want them to see.
I'll show Freddie.
Don't look behind the screen.
There's Freddie.
We have these, Tom, too. So I use cat food bags and dog food bags. I don't get many cat food bags, and I'm a cat person, so typically I've kept those. But dog food bags, the Purina ones, we get in abundance. And then this mesh is from my neighbor. Hi, neighbor. Her sons outgrew their trampoline, and this is the mesh that holds them in. And I used all of this one trampoline. I've got a next one at Anna and Eric's house. Their son, they're incredible kids. Alexandra and Nicholas have outgrown theirs. So yeah, Tom, I'll definitely send you some information and send you some of those. For sure, they're fun, aren't they? I have coffee ones and square box ones.
And chocolate chip ones.
The chocolate chip ones are like coveted though. Like, I don't know, Tom. I don't know if I'm willing to sell you the chocolate chip one.
I have one almost empty.
It doesn't. Don't diluting my exclusivity on chocolate chip bag. Everybody wants the chocolate chip bags. Is the point. Everybody wants. No, number one thing is the chocolate chip bag. So fortunately, the more I eat. No, unfortunately, the more you make, the worse for me. But all right, is there anything else before we let you all go?
Oh, Duende, are his feet backwards?
Yes, they are.
Yes, that's what Amy said. I want it here. Let's see one quick picture of it with his backwards feet. Yeah, he looks like he's wearing a diaper.
I think it's a cloak, but yes. Yeah, Amy, you're right. I remember him.
So he's...
But this one's Tata Duende, right in here. This one's a little long, so we'll do that one. We'll do this one next week. So everybody, that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to read from this book, and we'll read Tata Duende. The first thing Oh, I can't see this. Hang on a second. I'm going to read you what we're going to read about. Tata Duende. First thing them do when them catch you is to wring off your big thumb. First thing them do when them catch you is to wring off your big thumb. Okay, guys. Peace out. Love, peace, and free granola hall. Bye.